More than 2,000 people have died in Arizona since the start of the coronavirus pandemic. The state's hospitals and testing sites stretched to the limit, trying to handle the surge in cases that they're seeing there right now. NBC News reporter Vaughn Hillyard joins me now from Phoenix. It is wonderful to see you, Vaughn. Maricopa County has seen more than 73,000 positive cases. What is the demand for testing like there right now?
The demand is exceeding the capacity here for testing in the state. Quite frankly, the state is processing daily reports of about 12,000 tests, but that doesn't even begin to match the extent to which testing needs and is necessary here across the state. To give you an idea, the big number out of today from the Arizona Department of Health Services is 34%. That is a 34% positive test rate. That means that out of all the tests that are taken today, or taken over the last 24 hours, 34% of them came back as positive. That's nearly double to compare what Florida is at. That is an exceedingly high rate, which means that the spread of COVID across the state is essentially out of control. You know, it was Maricopa County Public Health Director yesterday that said contact tracing right now only gets you so far, because just yesterday, another 4,000 new cases. Trying to keep up with the spread is very, very difficult for these counties. And when you're talking about testing, you know, most folks aren't getting results back for more than a week here in the state because of that demand and because of that pressure on these labs. They do not have the resources necessary to process these tests fast enough. And so folks are going around, in a lot of cases, maybe asymptomatic, but positive COVID. This is a very tough time in the state with no indication that these numbers are going to be changing.
Vaughn, let's talk about the hospitals. How are they handling the surge in patients?
They need staff. Federal healthcare workers have been brought in to assist. There's about 100 that have come into the state over the course of the last week. And I should note that the state has put out contracts for traveling healthcare professionals, including nurses. There's at least 2 different companies that I'm aware of that are seeking folks that are work out of state to travel here to Arizona. They're looking to staff about 500 healthcare professionals, the state says, to come in for at least an 8-week period. Because when we're talking about capacity issues at these hospitals, it's not just beds. We're also talking about a lack of manpower that, you know, for now a couple months, these nurses, these surgeons, these others, medical assistants that work in these facilities are working long hours and they're strapped. And right now you are seeing record number of hospitalizations, record number of ICU beds in use, record number of ventilators, that the staffing shortage is really put a crunch on this hospital network system.
Well, I know you've been speaking with a family who lost a loved one to the coronavirus today. What have they been telling you? I can only imagine.
This is tough because I think I know we're at that point here in Arizona, Allison, where most everybody either knows somebody who's been sick or has passed away from COVID. Yeah. Just so far this month, there's been more than 400 deaths that have been reported. In just this first week, more than 400 deaths here in Arizona. And what is scary is the fact that those hospitalizations continue to increase. I want to introduce, if I could, one individual who laid her father to rest. Mark Urquiza was laid to rest just yesterday, a 65-year-old native of Tolleson. Kristen, you now live in California, you were telling me, and you were driving here 1 week ago into the state when you got the call that your father passed away. Will you tell me a little bit about your father and what got us here to this point to you and I meeting?
Sure. I mean, my dad was a wonderful person who was so loved by his greater community. Huge sports fan here. And he was following the lead of the Ducey administration, who downplayed the virus in early June and encouraged people to go out, go shopping, go to restaurants, be out in public. And my dad contracted the virus at some point during that. He became ill and passed away. A month ago, he was completely healthy, and yesterday I laid him to rest. This should not have happened to my father. He should not have died alone in a hospital with a nurse holding his hand.
The building behind us here, Governor Ducey, in about 20 minutes is going to be holding a press conference. What would be your message to him right now here?
Arizona is in a crisis. Governor Ducey needs to do his job and prioritize people's lives, shut down businesses, require mask wearing, and do more to protect people who are on the front lines of this. In particular, Indigenous, Black, Latinx, and people of color communities that are on the front lines holding our economy together and can't work have to go out and work half of the time. So I want to know, what is Ducey doing to stop the spread and to help those communities most impacted like mine?
And what about to your own community, to Tolleson, to folks in other parts of the state? What would be your message to them?
Keep fighting. Come out, share your stories, be on the front lines, and send your message to the governor's office, because I believe together we can make a difference when our leaders fail us.
Kristen, our heart is with you. Allison, just one family here impacted, and I know Kristen's mother also has tested positive for COVID. This is a real thing that is continuing every single day here. There's big question marks as to what additional steps, if any, the governor here of Arizona will take here this afternoon. Allison?
Yeah, it's a real thing, Vaughn. It's impacting real people. It's hurting real families. Thank you so much for your reporting. And please thank Kristen from us for being so brave and for sharing her story and for asking the tough questions, too, today along there with you. Thank you.
We will. Thanks, Allison.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.